Yeehaw, 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 rockety doodle 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 bombly doodle doo. What's up, Kenji's World, Kenji's World, Kenji's World? Everybody, thank you so much for joining me as I am Kenji Shimada, your host for Kenji's World. Thank you for coming in, checking it out. And today we're just gonna chat and ram about the energy going on at the moment that seems to be flowing through me, flowing through people that I'm working with, and just in the air and see what's going on with you guys. How you feeling? Does it account for what's going on right now? Obviously, if you don't see this video today, then it may not be the energy, but right now, it seems to be these breakthrough moments, right? We're transitioning from an old world or an old paradigm into a new paradigm. When shifting, we're closing circles here so that we can shift into new circles here. I can tell in terms of my relationship, it's been bringing up a lot for me to account for, to understand things, I guess, that were never triggered when I was single and by myself. But once I enter a relationship, so many things that I thought I had accounted for were not, or I had just pushed them aside, being like, I had dealt with it. Whereas realistically, I don't think you really dealt with it. So that's coming to the surface and having to really face and visit my past and where that's all been coming from, where I am now, and how that's moving towards the future. But the more I can start to see the clarity, I can feel I'm clarifying this part, making peace with my past, accounting for all the areas I need to make sure I'm accounting for, not missing any elements. So I'm moving forward as a whole human being instead of fragmented with things a little bit left in the past. I'm moving into the future still with a bit of doubt or lack of belief, or just not whole as a unit. And so it seems like that's what's happening right now for the people that I work with as well. Their businesses are going through this structural rephrasing, or people are leaving, people are coming in. There's this point where they have to make sure this is accounted for, because it looks like these people are about to move into the next phase of business for them as business owners and entrepreneurs. So it's pretty exciting, and the conversation is happening with my business partner, my good friend, and it's just in the energy. The podcasts are coming my way, the things that I'm seeing. Sure, there's social media that will be listening to me and influencing that. So I'm not really looking at social media for that. I'm talking about conversations that are coming up for myself and for the people around me. So pretty exciting. Looking forward to what's going on there and unpack that for myself. I got to make sure that, continue with Kenji's World. And realistically, I got to do it daytime more so than nighttime, because I forget and the day is long and my body only lasts for so long. I need sleep. I'm up, not that early, 5:30. Early enough to need an early bedtime as well. So I have to account for these things in my life, and I want to make sure consistency is here with Kenji's World. Kenji's World has to be daily, live, every single day. What's up? If I get myself to 50 subscribers, I can do my YouTube live anywhere. So please hit the subscribe button, comment, like if you want to hear something, if you want to talk about something. If not, don't worry about it, but just hit that subscribe button so I can go live on the road. And I would love to be interviewing people, chatting to people on Kenji's World, expand this horizon. I need you. I need all of you to help me get out there and be the best Kenji's World that he can be. And I can see the kind of bigger games that I'm looking to play as well, as a person, as a man going into business, understanding structures, understanding bigger pictures. And I'm just going to go for it there from the get-go, right? I believe I need to still make sure systems and processes are in place for my business to function effectively, smoothly, adding value, make sure those things are in place. But also as myself, how am I positioning? What am I positioning in terms of what areas, what people, what kind of information are you trying to learn, extrapolate, so the positioning is clearer, so you can put yourself in a better position to move the next piece. It's like chess. It's all positioning, right? But to understand how you can position yourself well, you need to understand the pieces, right? The pieces that go into the chess piece. You need to know how all these things move. That's I'm a terrible chess player, because I haven't spent the time to really work with the pieces, to know how they move, how they orchestrate, how they can organize together as a unit to achieve a certain goal. Kill the king. But, that reflection, as above, so below, that's in there with a lot of things. Same as my skateboarding, it's showing me a lot of what does that mean to break through those thresholds? What does it mean to have fundamental skills in place so that you can move to the next area? I can't do certain tricks until I've got my 180s down, I can't do 360s until I do 180s, right? I'm not going to be able to do any sort of vert. I'm not going to be able to get any height in my vert if I don't have my ollies on there clean, if my 180 ollies, front side, back side, if I don't have those clean, I'm not going to really be able to move into getting some hang time. So there's phases that need to be ticked off before you move into the next phase. That I'm not saying you can't position yourself in the higher phases prior to those things being sorted out, but you can position yourself, but how much you're going to be able to execute and action those steps forward from there if you don't have things in place. Or you'll probably notice that when you get to a certain point that you want to break through another threshold, but you actually can't because things are not in place. So as above, so below. My personal life, I'm not going to be able to move through a phase of who I am as a human being until all these things in my past are accounted for and made peace with and integrated into myself as a whole, with the lessons that I learned, what kind of person I was to who am I becoming, where am I now, what's this transition happening at the moment, what are the pieces of the puzzle that need to be put in place, where's my focus, where's my discipline need to be to make sure that I am moving in the most efficient way forward instead of just doing 1,000 things and hoping for a result. No, what's the result? And once again, I'm not saying I know all, but make sure that I test the hypotheses because I believe this is the result I'm looking for. These are the actions I'll take. When I take those actions, are they truly the most viable actions towards this? Because in the planning phase, you're still assuming a lot of things. There are assumptions, but when you test this and this, is this the result that you were getting, that you were looking for? If it is, sweet, these assumptions are correct and becoming and seeming to be more correct. Let's test it and trial a few more times. And if that's the case, let's keep this going. And now here's a piece of the puzzle that's starting to be facilitated. Now this is being facilitated. This needs to be kept alive in terms of a business, right? This function needs to be kept alive. System, processes, people's, in terms of my life, my personal life. These things need to be integrated and need to be, once this becomes whole, because it takes time for it to integrate as well. You can understand it, you can clarify it, you can clean it up, and you can get to a point where you're happy with it. Sweet. But to integrate it requires certain practices, open communication, actions in your life that are according to that lifestyle. Because if you're not taking that process to maintain that till it completely embodies in yourself, then you're going to lose it, right? So you have to build it up again until this becomes strong enough, and then this becomes strong enough and becomes integrated into yourself. And I'm not saying this thing is external to me, I'm just representing it here for the sake of a metaphor or an imagery for you right now. But the integration process to become whole to a point where, the skating analogy once again, if you get your ollies down pat to the point you just don't have to think about it. So now you don't have to think about the ollies. Now you can do the next thing without having to think about it. You can start grinding rails, or olling onto rails, or ollie over that thing. Sweet, you have a bit more freedom there. But now the kickflips. If I don't have my kickflips down pat, I'm thinking about my kickflip. Conscious energy is going into having to think about that kickflip. And so I'm using mental faculties to have to achieve a certain skill, which means I'm not really going to be able to take that kickflip and just start kicking off ramps from bank to bank. I'm not going to be able to utilize it in situations and scenarios, which is going to be personally fun for me. But in terms of business, unless you have certain procedures in place, assumptions clarified, the system is able to achieve what you want to achieve here. And until you know that, it's like you have to have conscious energy, right? So the owner or the leadership or the management team needs to make sure they're there so the team is able to facilitate the whole experience. And if that's the case, if it is happening, sweet, time and time again, the result has been met, then you have someone that continues oversight. You can't just let go of it, right? It's like, oh, sweet, I've hit a certain state because I realized I was meditating every day, I was getting good food. Sweet. And now, yes, it's becoming a habit, but the moment I think, oh, well, so now that thing's in place, I don't need to continue that habit anymore. It's like, no, you of course you need to continue the habit, that there's a certain level of mindfulness and decisive action that has to go towards that. But it should be less intense of how much energy I'm contributing to it, because I've overcome a lot of hurdles and obstacles internally to be able to achieve those things. So if that's the case, then now I just need a slight bit of personal oversight. Just make sure I do it, still to keep it in check, but it's a lot easier to make that happen than a new habit, right? The new course of action, new direction you want to take as a company, as a business, as a person, as above, so below. How is that reflecting and how is that refraction happening for you? I'm just wondering, how's it going for you? But this is just where I'm at, where I'm feeling the energies and a lot of things that I'm learning. I'm sure you can hear me rambling at 1,000,000 miles an hour, but that's just Kenji's world right now. That's just how it is. I'm going to go hit some shit. Not hit some shit physically, but go hit some tasks and prepare myself to get into the next meeting at 3 p.m. So keep it short and sweet. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining me today on 97.8 Kenji's World Radio. And until next time, you know how it is. Be nice to yourself. Be love. Be the force of love for yourself, for others, and all that. The boundaries of self and other will start to dissolve and disintegrate to the point where we become one as humanity, standing together, united for the single cause, because we'll know it, because we live it. And until that day, stay vigilant, keep discerning, keep a close eye on it. The devil can swoop in so quickly, tempt the mind, tempt the eye, avert you to other causes, other points of belief. Keep your eyes on the prize. It's simple, not easy,